PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Well, it's time for me to go ahead and upset some more people. I've got to be honest with you right now. There is not a solution of where we're at right now. If we don't have the components to finish a car, we cannot sell the car. At a Toyota manufacturing plant, if there's a defect in the car, when the car is going down the line and that andon cord is pulled twice, that car is pulled from the line at a Toyota manufacturing plant, taken to a back building, disassembled, and they look for the reason it happened and they micromanage this. That car is never sold to the public. I'll be honest with you. The stories I know about the domestic manufacturers is if they got a component that's faulty on a car, they go ahead and build the car. Just like they've stacked thousands of cars in coliseums and civic centers all over America right now that can't be sold. They're already made. They manufactured the car. They didn't shut the plant down. They finished the car. They put the seats in, seat belts, everything, and now they're waiting on that one component. When that component comes in, they have to tear the car apart and then put the component in and build the car back. Do you want that car? How would you ever know? I wouldn't want it. Toyota would never do that. If there's a problem, we don't continue to build the car. We stop the process. That's why I've worked for Toyota for 30 years, because there's nobody better. Is there complications in a mechanical item? Can a car have a problem? Yes, any car can have a problem. But you narrow the problems down when you buy from a gifted car manufacturer. So let me tell you where we are right now. And everybody wants to think that it's all sunshine and unicorns right now and rainbows. But we have a chip problem. Many countries around the world right now are having a Delta variant second wave of COVID, and they've shut their plants down again. Some of the Asian countries now are going back to work, but they're going back to work slow. We are dependent on those countries for these semiconductor chips and the chips that run our infotainment system. If we don't have the chips, we can't build the car. And I've been hesitant to say this because there's enough bad news on TV without me giving you bad news, but there is indications that this chip shortage may go all the way into 2023. I hope that's wrong. I hope that information turns out, oh my gosh, we found all these chips we didn't know we had. We'll send them out right now. I don't think that's going to happen. So that means that pre-owned cars become so important. I got some hate mail, not a lot, but a little hate mail about me saying that salespeople need to get involved with sourcing cars. I was told that salespeople shouldn't have to do that. That's not their job. But I got to tell you, when you're out in a boat and that boat is leaking water because we don't have new cars coming in and used cars cost more than they've ever cost before, and we're getting outbid by CarMax and Carvana because they have to have the inventory because they don't have any new cars, then you might want to take a little can or a bucket and start throwing that water out of the boat. So if we don't all do this together, if we sit there and complain about what's going on, nothing's going to happen. What's going to happen is the little boat's going to sink. And so right now it's all hands on deck. I will tell everybody right now, I'm not wrong in the car business because I don't make it up, because I've been through all this stuff before. And some of you out there that have been selling cars for over 20 years, if you'll think about it, you've been through it too. We went through cash for clunkers. And the problem is the government decided to eliminate the majority of the used cars out there to stimulate the new car market, and it did. The customers couldn't buy pre-owned cars, so they had to buy current model used cars or new cars, and the price of those cars went through the roof. When you eliminate the options and you have less options, there's more profitability or gross in the car deal. Right now, when you get that one 4Runner in, what are you selling it for? You know, I keep hearing all these people trying to justify it. Oh, it's supply and demand. Like, we're back in economics in college again. Well, you know what? I won't even tell you what I believe, but on the new car side, there's a manufacturer suggested retail price. So you do what you got to do. But on the used car side, listen, I'm paying way out of book for used cars. And if I want to charge way out of book for the used cars, that's supply and demand, because I'm having to source those cars from all avenues. I'm working harder right now at a dealership than ever before to find cars for my inventory, and I will adjust my pre-owned prices based upon the labor and the effort that all hands at my dealership are working. I don't have any problem with you selling a 3-year-old Tacoma for more than it was new. I have no problem with that, because it took everything you had to get that one Tacoma. So there's where I am. New cars are a whole different thing. But we don't have new cars coming right now. You don't have to worry about new car profitability. What you have to worry about is, can you keep your customer waiting 90 days for the car you guaranteed them with their non-refundable deposit that you could get them? Now you realize there's no way that you're ever going to get that specific unit for them. It's just not available, and eventually you're going to have to tell them that. So what I want to do is I'm going to focus on what we can do. I said earlier in another one, and y'all get mad at me. You can instant message me and tell me I'm the dumbest man on earth. But I've already done 2 cars out of my neighborhood. I had a friend 3 houses down that had a 2-wheel drive stupid Nissan truck with over 100,000 miles on it. He never drove the stupid thing. He had a RAV4. They never drove it. They're retiring down to South Texas on the beach. And I said, what are you going to do with the truck? You never drive it. He goes, I don't know what to do with it. I said, do sell it. You don't need the stupid thing. You'll get all the money for it. He took it down. I sent him to a Toyota store. He ended up going to the Toyota store. They didn't give him the money for it, even though it would have sold in one day. It was a truck in Texas. He went over to CarMax and got more money than he paid for the stupid truck. My son, I told him, you can drive my car. I'm not driving it. I'm stuck in this studio. I'm in a studio right now. This is where I live right now. I'm stuck in an upstairs studio doing digital. I said, sell your car right now, and then you can get whatever you want when this is all over with and the supply problem's not a problem anymore. You can drive my car anytime you want. And he did. He took it to his Toyota dealership. He took it to his manager, and his manager said, it's a standard transmission. I don't want it. So right next to his dealership is a CarMax. He took it over the next day, and so he had the car for 2 years, and he sold it for $700 less than he paid for the car after driving it for 2 full years. So I don't know. They didn't need the cars. They sold the cars. I said, if there's somebody in your neighborhood and you haven't seen their car move, who do you want to go talk to this person? You know, knock on the door. So I'm talking to somebody in one of the regions. I won't tell you what region it is. And one of their salespeople had an issue, went out and partied a little bit too much, and unfortunately got stopped and got a DUI. It's happened. I'm old enough to know that it was a mistake. You shouldn't have driven. But how many of you have gotten away with that where you've had an extra beer and you drove home? You're just lucky you didn't get stopped because the same thing would have happened. So now they can't insure the salesperson, which is a super salesperson here. You can't insure him to be able to do a demo drive or sell cars. And so what they did was they made him in charge of buying cars. So what they told him is if you go buy and source a car, we'll pay you $200 per car that you bring in. So he's on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, everywhere. And who do you want to go talk to somebody about selling your car? I want my best salesperson in the store, the best closer I've ever seen in my life, the one that'll make you cry. That's who I want knocking on a door and go, hey, I'm interrupting on purpose. But the problem is everybody wants to sit at a dealership and look out at an empty lot when the most gifted people in the dealership are the ones that I want talking to these people about giving us their car. I've got another dealership in the Houston area that hired 2 wholesalers. And the wholesalers aren't going to wholesale anymore and buy cars because cars at the auction are junk. And they're paying them per car. They're doing Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Auto Trader, Private, all those places. And they're driving up and they're buying the cars and the dealerships are paying them per car. So this salesperson in this region I was telling you about, the very first month, watch this. This was told to me by one of the senior staff in the region. The first month sourced 75 cars. The pay plan they're putting him on, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, $200 a car, and once the car sells, an additional $100. So let's say all 75 of those cars sold within a month, because I think they probably did. So it's 300 times 75. Get your calculator out. So why wouldn't you go to your dealer? Look at this. Look. I showed you these static cleans the other day. Got in trouble. Well, I don't think that's not my job, KC. But I go to this static cleans, and I start putting these. I go to a mall. I go to 7-Eleven. I walk up to somebody, slap it on their car and go, brother, I'm not trying to interrupt you right now. Check that out and everything. I'd love to have your car. Well, I'm not willing to sell it yet. I said, well, let me know. And just be that personable, approachable. You talk to total strangers all the time. You're the most gifted people I've ever met. You've never met a stranger. You walk into a dull party, the worst party you've ever been to. Everybody's hugging the wall. Nobody's talking. You're there 5 minutes. Everybody's whoop, whoop, party's going. Because that's who you are. That's who I hired when I was a general manager. I hired the people that can start the party. And so this is what we've got, a ship that's sinking right now. Our little dinghy, our little boat sinking. You got to start bailing the water. If you can source 2 or 3 or 4 cars a month to your dealership and there's 40 salespeople, that's an additional 80 cars sourced to the dealership. And the funny thing about it is, if you know you're sourcing the car, you're probably going to be the one that sells the car. I know that's not in your job description. I know it. But I don't know why you wouldn't go to your general manager, the top 4 or 5 salespeople in the store, and say, hey, boss, instead of sitting here, we don't have any appointments for these 3 days a week. Can we get over here and get on Auto Trader, private, KBB private, Craigslist? Can I get on, all the sources, Facebook Marketplace, and buy the cars. Bring them a cashier's check. Go get the car and then get paid per car. That should be additional income. I don't want anybody to lose income right now, but there are cars out there right now. That people aren't using that we need to source. It is really tough to take a car from somebody that uses it every day and not be able to replace it because I don't have any inventory. I understand that. But there are people out there right now that are working out of their home that aren't using their car right now. And it would be, actually, you would be doing them a favor. You're almost like Bitcoin or somebody like that, saying like, hey, don't do dollars anymore, do Bitcoin because it's the future. Well, you're really doing them a favor because they're not going to get as much for that car if they wait a year and the chip problem solved and COVID is down and the supply comes back up. They're going to be thousands of dollars less money in the value of their car. So you're physically making a financial decision for them that is a positive financial decision. I'm in your personal stuff. I didn't mean to do it, but I got to tell you right now, I've got too many dealerships out there that are running so low on inventory that I'm afraid they're going to lose you. I don't want you to go. You're the best Toyota salespeople we've ever had before. I don't need you to go across town to another dealership that's got an ample supply of used cars because they got buyers out there buying cars all the time. I need each and every dealership. If your dealership's not willing to hire buyers to go out into the private community to find cars like Carvana and CarMax and Vroom are doing, then we need to do it ourselves because right now it's all hands on deck. This is nothing that your dealership did. And you can't blame Toyota for this. Because Ford's in the same situation, so is Mazda, so is Nissan, so is Honda. This is a situation that was created by a devastating disease. It has shut manufacturing plants down. The cost of your food is going up. The cost of gasoline is going up. There's so many things that are affected. When people can't go to work, the commodities go up in price, and that's where we are right now. So make sure that you're making the income for your family. You should have made all the money over the last year, because the value of cars have gone up. You should have really had a really good year. Let's continue that by being creative. PK52, the Saturday morning meeting.